We've done it again. I always try to be slick. I always try to make the weird weekend follow in a totally wonderful, seamless whole, just so it goes from one subject to another, without ever having to worry about anything. But it doesn't work like that. I've now got a dead air. So how long have I got to talk before you arrive? I have got dead air. I've even got dead air until my next filling in. I'm not going to sing. I sing later. I'm not going to stop. Karina, stop it. My wife is a strange woman, you know. She had to be to marry me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got...
This chap said he'll fill dead air talking about elephants.
Do you want to talk about elephants? Well, George Spicer didn't like elephants. But first, I tell you what, first of all, I'm going to introduce you to another new friend of mine. This is wonderful. Like I said so many times this weekend, I travel around the country, I meet people, I do strange things. And usually when I meet strange people, then I end up publishing a book for them. I'm a total skeptic about UFOs. I was once told, somebody once attributed a quote to me, that the truth may be out there, but I don't really care. I really don't care what crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, in 1947. I believe that strange things do happen. I am quite certain that Dave Curtis saw a UFO last night. I know that my wife and I saw a UFO at the weekend cocktail party about 5 years ago, and I've seen things I couldn't identify in the sky on several occasions in my life. I got approached earlier this year by a charming couple called John and Dawn, who wanted to know if I'd be interested in publishing a book about UFOs. My actual first answer was, well, not really. I'm a zoologist. We publish books about cryptozoology. But I was so impressed by the level of their research, I decided to not only give it a go, but I decided to actually start a new imprint of CFZ Press. So what I started something called 14 Words, and it started with Andy Roberts' book on the Berlin UFO crash and the beginning of a multi-part series on British UFOs. I'm going to pass you over to one of the two authors, John Hanson, who's going to tell you all about it. John Hanson.
Well, this is an unexpected pleasure because I didn't even know that I'd be saying a few words. But I think my partner Dawn, is she in the audience or is she? I think she doesn't like talking, so she's probably disappeared in the ladies for the next hour or something. But UFOs, I don't say that it's been an obsession with me, but in fact, served with the West Midlands Police for 27.5 years before I retired. And if anybody had mentioned to me about UFOs, I would have actually thought that they probably should be locked up or that there was something wrong with them. And it was only after I retired that, I don't normally disclose this, but I don't think it really matters, but my son Chris, who's now he's a detective inspector in Coventry, he was directed to a report of a UFO being seen over some trees in Birmingham, and him and the policewoman went to the scene and they saw this saucer-shaped object. In fact, Chris described it as like a half-pounder hovering. Excuse me, young lady, you're late.
Sorry.
Sorry, you're
I was getting your tea, mister.
Right, did you get me a cup? I can see she's really keen to come out here, but anyway, he was directed to, it was at 6:41 PM on the 19th of January 95, and he was directed to it, and he saw it at very close range, and the policewoman was really upset, and anyway, oddly, he telephoned me the next night, and you do remember these episodes in your life, but I was lying on the settee watching the X-Files, where this, I think he was an Iraqi pilot was chasing a UFO. So when Chris phoned me and he said, look Dad, I've just seen this. So I said more or less the same thing to him that Jonathan Downes was to say to me many years later, beginning with the word B and ending with the word S. I didn't believe him, but it was only when he told me that I thought, well, you know, is there anything in this at all? Is there anything in the paranormal, black cats? I mean, I hadn't got a clue. So I decided to conduct my own research, and it took me 16 years, which is now 16 years, to put together and accumulate enough information from people all over the country that had been involved in this particular line of work. And so really the book is not, as you will see if you ever get a copy of it or read it, it's not about me, it's about the people that have been involved in researching what is, after all, at the end of the day, I mean, there's so much evidence to prove that, okay, it's an inexplicable phenomenon. I don't profess to know what the answers is, but you know, when you look at so many cases, there are undeniable characteristics of behaviour associated with more or less the majority of these craft. And of course, Dave, I don't know if Dave's here somewhere lurking, but of course, you all know about Dave's sighting last night. Do you? Yeah? I mean, if anybody else listened to Dave, they probably wouldn't believe him. But I'm a believer. I'm a believer in unidentified phenomena for which I am unable to offer an explanation. And last week, it was the same with the MOD files. When the files were released, the tabloids had a field day with it, and they were contacting all sorts of weird and wonderful people and asking them their views. And I don't know whether any of you had the chance to go through the records, but most of it is, a good 75% of the MOD documents are the usual derogatory statements handed over to UFO witnesses. It is of no defence significance. Now, I don't know if it's of any defence significance, but I would bloody well like to know what it is and where it comes from. And that's the situation, as I say, that we're faced with at the moment. And I don't think anything is going to change as the years go by, but I wanted to be sure that, to the best of my ability, that we had some books detailing on a day-to-day basis, right from 1940, UFOs. So that's where I've come from. But I have to say that if it wasn't for John Downes, nobody else would touch it. You know, trying to get a book published anyway with mainstream publishers is actually impossible. And trying to get a literary agent to act for you, again, is impossible. And it's only John that's given us the opportunity to beat the impossible odds. So I have to say that it's not me that any hand clapping should be given for. It's for John Downes, because he's the boss. He does a bloody good job here, and he's also got us a book published. So I'd like you to raise your hands and give John a good clap.